Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna drive over to my brother's house, but and if you have the time, The Turk by Tom Standage, fantastic book about the in the late 1700s. Wolfgang von Kempelen, he created a chess playing machine. This is before there was computers and electricity and stuff like that. It was all automata, as they put it. And he was taking on the best chess players at the time. Napoleon Bonaparte, Benjamin Franklin, Philidor, who came up with the pawn theories, the Frenchman, as Bobby Fischer puts it. Got an old truck, so. How's everybody doing today? Love you guys. The Groovy Buddha is in. I'm alive. And that's the most fantastic thing. And I want to talk to you guys today about my first ever mushroom trip. The first time I ever experienced mushrooms. And it was a trip, let me tell you. They all are, aren't they? So, my story on my first mushroom trip starts in Streamwood, Illinois. I had moved to, I'm originally from Illinois, but I was living in New Mexico, which I am now. And I had moved back to Illinois, and I started working at a windows and siding company. And eventually I had nowhere to stay. Oh, the mountains look so pretty. But anyways, I had nowhere to stay at the time. And so my friend Johnny D, who had spent 11 years in prison for attempted murder, said, hey, you can stay here at the place where he was staying. And he also stayed with another person who was on parole. Sorry about that. And hopefully I have enough time to tell the story. Maybe there'll be a part 2. So I'm working at this windows and siding company, and we had somehow gotten a hold of an eighth of mushrooms, and I split half of it with a friend. So it was, you know, about 1.7 grams, we'll say. Which isn't a lot, but for your first time, it's enough. And yo, Groovy Buddha here, baby, I'm here. So I had a couple beers, so I'm feeling great. I'm about to go chill with my brother and smoke the good shit. I love my brother so much, man. As I love all of you. But so I take the mushrooms. I think I put them on a pizza or something, and I ate them. And I was in a house. This house was gross. The girl, it was a bunch of heroin addicts who lived there. At least like 5 of them. And they would have parties where there was like 10 people, and I would come home from work and they would all be passed out, like fucking dead. Like, I'm driving, so I can't completely, like, you know, emulate how they did it, but they would just be like dead when I came home. And it was just gross. I mean, there was times where there would be like blood splatter because they were shooting it up in the bathrooms. Like, it was fucking gross, but I had nowhere to stay at the time. And I was selling weed for the very first time. I started selling weed because I had no money. I started working at a job, but we all know that job stands for just over broke. So I started selling weed. So I had $1,300 in my pocket, which is not a lot of money, but to me at the time it was. And again, I'm in a house with, like, they were having a kind of a get-together, so sort of like a party at the time. And there's a one weird looking fucking car. The fuck is that? Goddamn tank. Anyways, so again, I'm at this house where there's like 10 people. I barely know these people. Most of them are heroin addicts. Most of them are on parole. Sorry about the view here. And so I take these mushrooms, and eventually I'm drinking a couple beers, and smoking some weed, you know, just doing my thing, and I don't know what to experience. And I remember my brother told me, no, this is getting ahead of myself, but I'm sitting outside in the back, and there's a little fire, and we're all just hanging out. And this is in Illinois, so the trees are beautiful at this time. They're just so vibrant and alive. And I noticed the trees all of a sudden. It was weird. Like, in fact, before that happened, I started seeing like little lightning. I thought it was lightning at the time, because I'd never taken shrooms, so I didn't know what it starts to come on as. And now I know when I take mushrooms and I start seeing little flashes of light, I know it's starting to come on. That's from experience, but I had never taken this before. I'd never done this before, so I started noticing the trees, and I realized all of a sudden that the trees were so much cooler than the people I was hanging out with around the fire, which sounds kind of shitty because they gave me a place to stay, but at the same time, I mean, I ended up moving out because I didn't get the respect that I deserved at the time. You know, because when you're on mushrooms, your pupils are huge. They're huge, so you're able to collect all of the available light. Oh! Sorry about that. Phone fell. So you're able to see all kinds of stuff better than you ever can see. And I have better than 20/20 vision. I have 20/15 vision, which is good enough to be a pilot. And on mushrooms, I can see stuff like I'm seeing stuff twice as good as I can see now, which is astounding to me and baffling to me to this day. I don't know why it works like that, but I'm glad it does. So I'm having a good time. They're joking, they're laughing at me. They're like, look at this guy, he's freaking tripping out on the trees and stuff. And oh my God, I hope that cop didn't decide to follow me. No, it's not. Sorry. It's just a black Ford Explorer, motherfucker. And I smoke a little bit of weed, and weed makes it come on a little stronger. Oh, the mountains look beautiful. And it's fucking black Explorer, man. I don't know if you can see it back there. But and then I went into the bathroom. And again, I've had 4 mushroom trips, so this is part 1 of my first mushroom trip. Because I'm about to get to my brother's here soon, so I'll continue the other part soon. I know I haven't gotten too much into it yet, but I will, trust me. Groovy Buddha, baby. Subscribe. I'm here to love and connect everybody with love and to fight all the negativity in the world. So I went into the bathroom and I seen myself in the mirror. And I was 26 at the time, 25, 26 at the time. For a half a century, I'd been on this planet. I had never seen myself in the mirror like I seen myself that day. It was as if walking into a room in third person and looking at yourself from another person's perspective is what it was like. Unbelievable. I seen myself so clear, it was unbelievable. And I immediately got upset because I went, oh my God, this is what they have been lying to us about. This is absolute truth that has been swept under the carpet and had been kept quiet for thousands of years. And I spent the next 3 hours probably crying, huddled in the corner of the bathroom, crying because I was experiencing a sort of ego death. Not fully, I haven't done that yet as far as at that time. I believe I have so far with my other trips. But yeah, and then my friend Johnny D, who turned out to, end up eventually being somebody who I couldn't be around because we didn't get along, and I had to leave to a worser place, but that's another story for another time. Pulling up to my brother's house. It's got a nice place, Mike. Oh, I just hit the curb. I should stop drinking. And yeah, I spent a lot of that time completely crying because I had just realized so many things as far as I had seen myself from a third perspective, which was freaking weird. And I'm in sunny New Mexico, by the way, if you're wondering. We'll finish it, because I'm here. So, part 2 coming soon of my first mushroom trip. Again, there's 4. I will go ahead and elaborate on all 4 eventually. Thank you guys for being with me. I love you guys so much. Groovy Buddha here, and I'm out.